thing that we sort of specialise in here is finding exit routes for our students after they leave us. There's not allowed to be a certain amount of students from one country at our school, which purposely makes us really multicultural, and we think that that's generally they're very, very coachable, the Indian players, so they develop at a really quick rate. Technically, we've found them to be very good so far. They have a nice range of different skills so far, but maybe.
So welcome to another episode of the IKF Workshop Diaries. Today we are honored to have Trevor Bumstead, Head of Football at Buckswood School, joining us. In this episode, we will dive deep into Buckswood's unique offerings, including its football studies program, specific goalkeeping training, and the school's collaboration with India Kilo Football, that is IKF. We'll explore everything related to the same. So without any further ado, just any few words that you would like to say, Trevor.
Yeah, just thank you for having me on. It's a great privilege to come and talk to you. And hopefully I can give you some insight into Buckswood School and our football academy here.
Yeah. So before starting off, just like you mentioned, can you give us a bit more about Buckswood School, how it progresses forward in football in the UK?
Sure. So we're a small international boarding school based in East Sussex in a small village, just not too far out of Hastings, in a village called Guestlin. We've got a campus that's around about 20 acres, and everything is on campus for our students, and we cater for students from the ages of 11 all the way through to 19 years old. And as I say, we're an international boarding school, so we have students from all around the world, around about 40 different nationalities currently. So we're very multicultural here at the school. And we've specialised for quite a few years now in having an elite football academy at the school. And that's what I kind of head up, really, more than anything else, and oversee. So, it's been an exciting project for all of us, and we very much enjoy what we do here.
Yeah. And just to let you know that before I go forward, I just wanted to say that in the last part of this podcast, there is a small game as well. It is called Blind Rankings. So, it will be kind of a good way to end the podcast and end the series as well. So if that's fine for you.
Of course, that sounds fun. So, we'll definitely have a go at that.
Sure. So just coming back to the topic, can you let us know your role in Buckswood School?
Sure. So, as I mentioned there, I'm the head of football here at Buckswood. So my role is to oversee everything to do with the football academy here. And that ranges from matches that we have to training sessions, to organising the staff that we have at the school, and all the logistics surrounding the football academy that we have here.
Yeah. And I was visiting your LinkedIn profile, and I got to know that you are part of the Arsenal youth team as well as West Ham's youth team. So can you let us know a bit about the same in a brief?
Yeah, sure. So before I took on this role as head of football here, I worked in professional football for nearly 20 years. I worked at 3 football clubs, the first being Southend United, where I spent a short time in their youth academy before moving on to West Ham United, where I spent 10 years as their lead youth development phase coach there. I loved my time at West Ham and really enjoyed that, before moving on to Arsenal Football Club, where I spent 5 years predominantly as the under-16 coach there. I've been very lucky to work with some really talented young players, people like Declan Rice, who's now at Arsenal and obviously an England international, and Bukayo Saka as well, just to sort of name 2. So I've tried to take some of those experiences of working at those clubs and players and bring that to Buckswood. And I think that we've got a flavour of those 2 football academies within our Buckswood Football Academy here now.
Okay. And coming back to Buckswood School, what is the mission and vision of the football school of Buckswood? What is like the goal of Buckswood?
Sure. So every student and football player that we have within our academy, we want them to be the best that they can be. And we also want to, a big thing that we sort of specialise in here is finding exit routes for our students after they leave us. So we've got a few different ones that have become really popular over the years. We've actually had 31 players who have signed for professional football clubs in the last 5 years. Our biggest player was a player called Terry Moffi, who's currently a Nigerian international. He's playing for Nice in France, and he got transferred there for around about 27 million euros. So we're really proud of him. But every year we get one or two boys who sign for professional clubs. This summer was no different. We had an American boy sign for a Premier League side in Poland, and we had a Spanish boy sign for a Premier League club in Portugal as well. And we've actually got one boy who's currently on trial in Finland at a professional club as well. So we've got the professional football club exit route for our students when they leave us. But we also have several players who went to America on football scholarships. So they're combining a nice football program alongside doing a degree in their chosen subject. And we've also had boys go off to Sweden to do something very similar at Jönköpings University over there. And we also get loads of boys who go off to university in the UK and in Europe as well. And we try and help those students with things like work experience and further courses. So when they're doing their application for university, they're not just relying on their exam results to get them into that university as well. So we offer a real range of exit routes for our students who want to go into professional football, but also those who want to go on to further studies as well.
Yeah. And before going on to the another question, I just wanted to ask, what is grassroots football like in UK?
Yeah, so grassroots football is huge in the UK. It's football in general, as you probably know, is the most popular sport in the UK. It's played by every student who goes to school over here for a start, and then a lot of those students join football clubs outside of their school as well. So there's thousands and thousands of football clubs, both for boys and girls, within the UK. And the grassroots is where all the top players start their careers, really, more than anything else. So most of them will join a football club at the age of even 5 years old now, and then work their way and enjoy their football. So we've got a really strong grassroots structure in this country that builds up to the top football clubs in the UK as well. So, but yeah, our grassroots structure is extremely strong in the UK.
Yeah, and just like you mentioned that football is the most played game in the UK, not just in the UK, in Europe as well. But talking about UK, cricket has also been originated from UK as well. So how would you compare both these sports, cricket and football? It is off topic, of course, but I just wanted to ask you this question.
Yeah, well, I'm a massive cricket fan myself as well. I love watching. That's certainly my second sport, and I spend my summer break watching lots of cricket take place during the summer period, and I particularly love watching our national team at the moment. They're quite an exciting team, so it's been great to watch. But that's what a lot of our footballers do. Actually, they during the winter period they'll play football, and then during the summer period they'll play cricket, and they're normally pretty competitive people and normally do quite well at both sports. But yes, cricket's really popular. There's, alongside other summer sports, of course, things like tennis as well is becoming more popular as well. But yeah, certainly cricket's a big sport still in the UK, and what with having the English national test team doing particularly well in the last few summers, it's as popular as ever at the moment, I would suggest.
Yeah. And talking about Buckswood School, there are a lot of nationalities of players coming in. So are there any Asian players, or particularly if we talk about Indian footballers that have come to Buckswood, are there any players at this point of time?
Yeah, so we've got, if we just talk about Indian players to start with, yes, we've had Indian players last year, and we've got Indian players again this year. We've recently had one boy called Chris who's recently left us, and his brother is still at our school. But he did particularly well, particularly in his education. But he's also a really talented footballer, and he's managed to marry the two things and be successful both within the football side of things, but also the education side as well. So yeah, we've got other Indian players who are new to the school as well this year, but we've also got lots of boys from all over Asia as well, China, Japan, Mongolia. We've got lots of boys from all over the place, as we do every year. As I say, we've got around about 40 different nationalities at the
Yeah.
school, and we don't allow too many one nationality to rule the roost. So there's not allowed to be a certain amount of students from one country at our school, which
Yeah.
purposely makes us really multicultural, and we think that that's a really healthy mix for our school.
Yeah, yeah, and just like you mentioned that multicultural, you have that multicultural thing going on. But apart from it, what is the difference that makes Buckswood, special than the other schools or the football academies and everything?
Yeah, sure. So I think that there's lots of things that all football academies do the same. Um, but I think the best way to describe it is we're a real family here at Buckswood. We're not a huge school. We have around about 275 students at the school. So we're quite small, but what that allows us to do is everybody knows everybody. So I get to know every player that I have within the football academy, which is around about 130 students. But I get to know them quite well. And our teachers get to know every student quite well. So it's you get a real personal touch to the education and to the football side of things here at Buckswood. Every student matters. And like I said, we specialise in what students go on to next. So I will sit down with every single sixth form student who will be leaving us at the end of the year, and we'll talk about the different options that they have. And I stay in contact with them beyond them leaving us as well. So just today, I've got a player who's still looking for a professional football club, and he's ringing me for advice. Where he left the school nearly 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So that's not unusual. We try and carry that on even when students have left, and we do that because we try to connect with every student who arrives here at Buckswood, and we like to think that they're part of the Buckswood family here.
And I was going through the website of Buckswood as well, and there I noticed there is a type of curriculum for football. So, can you give us a gist about the same, the curriculum that the football players or the kids or children follow?
Yeah, so all of our football academy players will do 8 hours minimum of training per week within their teams. On top of that, they'll also do one video analysis session per week. So we record all of our matches via a digital platform called VO that the players and the parents have access to. And our under 16 players and above will all do 2 gym sessions per week also. So we've got a fully equipped gym on campus here at Buckswood. So they use the gym. So we like to think that we've got a really nice holistic program here. And of course we have our matches as well, which normally takes place once every week to every 2 weeks, depending on our fixture program. So we feel like we've got a really nice program that we've designed. Our schedule also allows our students to allow them time to do their homework as well as socialise with friends, as well as try a different sport if they want to try a different sport. And it also gives them the freedom to practice as an individual as well. So we also offer a Friday morning training session where students can go down onto the football pitch and they can practice whatever they want to practice for that period of time with the coaching staff down there as well. So we like to think we offer a really nice program that would rival most of the professional football academies within the UK here.
Yeah. And since you mentioned in the start that video analysis is a part of the curriculum as well, the parents have access, you have access. So talking about video analysis, because we all know, just like you mentioned as well, UK is a hotbed for football, and it is one of the biggest countries if we talk about to have football as the main sport. So how important is video analysis and data analysis in football? How has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, it's huge now, and you mentioned the grassroots system earlier, and even a lot of our grassroots clubs now are using video cameras to record their games. It's a great learning tool for players and for coaches, and it allows every team to analyse how they play and develop their game from then on. Statistics are also becoming a big part of the game now. And that's rolling into the grassroots system, with grassroots clubs being able to access that kind of data as well now. We use it here at Buckswood in a few different ways. So the first thing is we have 2 cameras that we use. So that allows us to record 2 games if we've got 2 teams out at a time. One of our cameras allows us to live stream. So, for instance, for our students from India, their parents can watch some of their games live as they take place.
Yeah.
And then we also have, on our other camera, we try and download those games within 24 hours. So 24 hours later, they'll be able to see their games as well. And then for the players, there's 2 things. We certainly encourage all our players to review after games, so to watch some of their games back and watch their clips and see what they could have done better, but also some of their strengths as well within the game. What did they do well? Because you want to encourage them to do that the following week and the week after that. Yeah. But what we also try to do is to create highlights videos of our players. So short 5-minute videos of all our players' best bits. And then what we're able to do is we're able to send those videos off to professional football clubs to help get our players opportunities to go on trial with professional football clubs. We have other boys who use it to go to America on football scholarships, so they'll send them to college coaches in the US. And we have lots of boys who want to go to university in the UK and Europe as well, and they'll send them to those coaches as well. And it's also just a really nice tool to be able to show family and friends of your time whilst you've been at Buckswood and the football that you've played here as well.
Yeah. And once again, coming back to the curriculum part, I have seen there is a specific goalkeeping training as well. And because I am a goalkeeper myself, so I want to get to know more about it. So what is the goalkeeper training exactly like?
Yeah, so our goalkeepers will practice do goalkeeper-specific training for 2 hours per week. We've got a guy called Dan Hutchins, who, as a young goalkeeper himself, played for Brighton and Hove Albion in their academy before moving into semi-professional football. He's our goalkeeping coach. So he works with the players for 2 hours on lots of different skills involved with being a goalkeeper. But also within our team training sessions, a big part of how we want our teams to play is that we build from the back a lot. And that's a huge part of the game for a goalkeeper these days. So they're very much involved in our training sessions. We don't use our goalkeepers just to be peppered with lots of shots throughout a training session. And they don't just stand there in goal in games. We want them to be an active part of the build-up play for each of our teams. And that's certainly one of the strands that we work heavily on throughout the year is our build-up play from the back. And our goalkeepers are an integral part of that. So within those goalkeeper-specific sessions, there's lots of practices on their footwork and their distribution, as well as shot stopping and all the traditional things that a goalkeeper would be encouraged to work on.
Yeah. And so this is all about Buckswood. We'll come to Indian football part. So talking about Indian footballers, Buckswood has a lot of Indian footballers, as just like you mentioned. So have you found any significant difference between the Indian footballers and the UK footballers or the European footballers that are part of Buckswood?
Yes, I think that there would be some trends from the footballers that we've had from India so far. Generally, they're very, very coachable, the Indian players. So they develop at a really quick rate. Technically, we've found them to be very good so far. They have a nice range of different skills so far, but maybe need more development when it comes to the physicality of the game, certainly, and maybe some of the tactical side of the game as well. And that's certainly 2 of the things that we think we're quite strong at here in England. The intensity of the game is very, very fast in England compared to a lot of the countries from a warmer climate in particular, because we're able to play at high intensity for longer because we haven't got the weather that you guys have, and that's a big change for the players. But that means physically players have to be extremely fit to be able to play in the intensity out here, and that's something that we're trying to develop within some of our Indian players. But certainly from a technical point of view, they're certainly up there with the English players from that side of things, certainly.
Yeah. And talking about the Indian footballers, when they are traveling from India to UK, so they must have gone through a lot of changes. So what are some of the challenges that you have seen the Indian footballers facing when they come to England and to come to Buckswood as being part of the school?
Yeah, so there's a few big ones that spring to mind. Certainly, the weather is plays a huge part. We're quite lucky at the moment. Actually, I'm looking out the window now, and we've still got some sunshine here. But probably give it a couple of weeks, that will turn into wind and rain. And then as we move into November, that will slowly start to get drop and become minus temperatures and probably a little bit of snow as well to deal with. So the weather is certainly a big part for players to deal with. But as is just moving to a different country and a different culture, things like the food as well is obviously different for Indian players moving over here. We're very lucky to have really good chefs here at the school who provide a really good menu for all of our international players, and quite often they'll cook foods from their home countries to make them feel at home as well a little bit. So yeah, that helps them adapt along the way as well, and we encourage them to buy their own snacks and things like that as well. So that those kind of things also help them. But just sometimes players become homesick as well. But that's also where I think being a small school helps, that everybody knows one another. You become very close to people very quickly. And we tend to not get too much homesickness because of those things, because we like to think it's quite a family environment here as well. In fact, sometimes it goes the other way, and we get parents ringing us that some of our students haven't been ringing home because they've been enjoying themselves and probably having too much fun here at school.
Yeah. So coming back to IKF, India Kilo Football. So how did the collaboration come with IKF?
Yeah, so I think it originally came through. My profile was on LinkedIn, and I saw yourselves as well, and I think I reached out originally to see if we could possibly work together, and I think there's quite a few areas that we can collaborate in, and we've been working with IKF for probably a year now. We had our first player over at the end of last term, which was a really big success. He did extremely well while he was here with us. We look forward to having more players from India as well come over and join Buckswood, and hopefully they'll have just as good a time as well.
Yeah. And what are your goals from the season 4 workshop that IKF is holding?
Well, we're still, as I say, we've been working together for a year, so we're still quite fairly new. So I think a big part of it is getting our name, the Buckswood brand, into India, and people knowing about what we do and what sort of services that we can provide. And hopefully with that, we will get more Indian players over to Buckswood, and we look forward to working with them and helping them develop, and hopefully getting opportunities within European football clubs, and also sending them to UK universities and to America. It would be great to do things like that with them as well. I know Indian football's booming at the moment, and hopefully this is a good time for Indian students to come over to Buckswood for football reasons, because I know we get lots of Indian students for academic reasons coming to our universities and high schools, and I think there's probably a bit more of a trend now for footballers to do the same as well. So, and to at least combine the football with the education anyway.
Yeah. And how will you rate the success of Buckswood from this season 4 workshop?
Well, I think for me, it's not just about how many students we get. It will become more about, like I say, just getting our name out there and being talked about a little bit more. I think and getting having some interesting calls with players and parents and having that interest really. I
Yeah.
think that's the first step, and then eventually that will we will get more students come to the UK and come and come to our school and come to our football academy, and that's what we're hoping for. That's what we want out of the partnership and out of the workshop. So hopefully that will materialise.
Yeah. And what will you assess in a player from the IKF Season 4 workshop? What exactly will you look into a player to bring him or her into Buckswood?
Yeah, so I think a bit. The first part is always the character and personality of the player. We always think that that's really important. We want players who are gonna be very coachable, and want to learn new skills and have a new mentality and have a different experience to the one they have in India. I
Mm.
think that would be the whole reason of coming to the UK and to Buckswood. But we also look for ultimately, we want players to have talent as well. We want them to be good at something, some kind of attributes within the game, and then we look to develop those attributes as well as develop some of their weaknesses in their game as well. So we're not looking for a player who is the complete package. We want players who we can develop and work with, and help, and who have real ambitions within the football industry as well. We want players who want to go on and play to a high standard. I think those are the things that we look for mostly out of players, that we want to recruit into Buckswood.
Yeah. And what are the benefits that you are expecting from the IKF Season 4 workshop? And not in terms of the players, but in terms of Buckswood as a school.
So can you just expand on that? What you mean by that a little bit more?
Means what are the benefits Buckswood is looking for from this IKF Season 4 workshop?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned there, I think certainly players is something that we want to try and get out of it. More exposure to our brand is definitely something else that we're looking to get within India as well. We've not got a huge outreach in India, although we've had several players in the past few years come over from India. So it's a market that we're looking to expand in, and we feel that the workshop is a great way of our brand becoming more known to everybody, really, more than anything else.
Yeah. And talking about, not talking about IKF, but since as you said that Buckswood wants to be in India, wants to promote brand as well as the quality of Buckswood in India as well. So are you willing to partner up with different organizations or non-organizations as well in India in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got several partnerships with various companies and agencies throughout the world, particularly people like football agents within India and football clubs as well as educational organisations. That's kind of our market really, more than anything else. So we've got lots of partnerships with those types of people, and yeah, we'd encourage anybody like that to get in touch with us. Particularly if they'd like to recruit students for us and talented footballers for Buckswood.
Yeah. Yeah. So before ending the long questions, any few words that you would like to say about Indian football or how Buckswood is planning to help Indian football grow?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I think Indian football at the moment is booming. I actually had a friend of mine who was a technical director of one of the big clubs in India, and he was of the same opinion that it's really booming, particularly among young people at the moment. And we want to help develop Indian players as best we possibly can. We've got a great track record of sending talented players into Europe, and in the UK. So we'd like to do that with some Indian players, and we're looking for that one who's going to be our first one. Really, they'll make a bit of a name for themselves if they do so. But we're looking for that one we can get signed with a professional football club. That would be lovely. But as I say, we try and provide a an exit route for every single player and student that we have here, or something really nice for them to go on to after they finish here at Buckswood. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more Indian players at Buckswood, and we look forward to our partnership through the workshop as well.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of the long questions. We'll move on to the blind rankings game to finish
Okay.
off this episode. So just to give you about the rules, it is like if you have seen it on social media, it's like I will give you 10 names of players, of European players, all of all decades. Means it is from the Maradona to the Messi's and to Haaland's. And so there will be 10 names, and I'll be giving you the names one by one, and you have to rank them from 1 to 10. Means 10 is the worst and first is the best.
Okay.
So the names will be given and you have to arrange them accordingly. So it's called blind rankings because you don't know what will be coming next, which name will be coming next. So you have
Okay.
to rank that. That's a game basically. So I'll have just I have my diary as well. So I'll just keep the record as to which number which player is going. So starting off, should we start?
Yes, go for it.
First name that is going this time, it is Maradona.
3.
3. The second one is Georgie Best.
4.
Third one is CR7.
2.
Neymar.
8.
It is Pele.
1.
Messi.
5.
Then it is Cruyff. Johan Cruyff.
Have I said 7 yet?
No, we haven't used 7.
7.
7. It is, I said Maradona, of course. So this time it is Di Stefano.
9.
Then it is Zidane. Zinedine Zidane.
Have I got 2 left, have I?
Yes. No, 2 is already taken. CR7.
Okay. What numbers have I got left? 10 and...
You have taken 3, 4, 2, 8, first, 5th, 7th, 9th. So you have got 6 left. Then you have got 10th left, of course. Yes.
Okay. And who was the player, Di Stefano?
Zinedine Zidane.
Zinedine. Oh, my goodness. 10.
The last name is Beckham.
Oh, wow.
He goes 6th.
He must be sick then. Yeah, okay.
So I'll just repeat it once again. From 10th, it is Zinedine Zidane at 10th, Di Stefano at 9th, Neymar at 8th, Cruyff at 7th, then it is Beckham at 6th, Messi at 5th, it is Georgie Best at 4th, Maradona at 3rd, CR7 at 2nd, and Pele at 1st. Any one position that you would like to exchange?
Yeah, Messi would go higher. So he would probably go up. I think my top 3, did I have?
Yeah.
I had Maradona, Ronaldo, and Pele.
Pele. Yeah.
Messi would go above Maradona, probably.
So Messi goes 3rd, and then Maradona goes 5th.
Yeah, who is 4th?
4th is Georgie Best.
Yeah, maybe move. Yeah, maybe move. Maybe move George Best with Messi.
So yeah, it is Messi then 4th and Georgie Best then 5th. So that was your blind rankings. How happy are you with your blind rankings?
Ish. I think the top group are about right. I think Pele, Ronaldo, Messi, they're probably your sort of top 3, I think, for me. So the rest you can make lots of arguments about, I think, but I think those for me are the top 3. Certainly Messi and Ronaldo are the best 2 that I've ever seen live anyway.
Yeah.
And been in a stadium and had the pleasure to watch. Yeah. There we go. That was good fun anyway.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Any few words that you would like to say, Trevor, before ending this episode?
Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. We look forward to working with IKF in the future and having more Indian students over to Buckswood.
Yeah. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode. This is Atawaris Farsi, founder and presenter of All About Football.